Hi, I'm Sarah Ruck, and I'm doing blog number 3 for Spiritual Formation. The first question was about the smartphone quiz that was posted. That I thought that was fairly accurate in depicting where a lot of people struggle. I scored a 7 out of 8 because I was kind of borderline about, I think it was the last one, that said that you personally don't think that you could stay off of social media for any length of time. I said that I could because I had done it before. So I said no to that one. But I did think it was fairly accurate and very reflective of get you started to think about where you're at with an addiction. The second question, set of questions were about the articles we read. The first one was called Silicon Valley Hook, and it asked whether we think that social media designers have nefarious intentions in making their particular applications. Personally, I believe that every designer, as said in one of the articles, creates their product so it sells. And especially with the food analogy, their intention isn't to make people as addicted as they are. And that was exemplified in one of the articles that talked about how that designer was putting limits on his own family, thinking about how he operates that and how he controls that in his own home. So designers don't normally take into account how their product is going to affect individual people as much as how much it will sell as a whole. They want it to go out to as far-reaching as possible, so they make it with that in mind, not necessarily this is going to make people addicted. I don't think all of them, anyway, intended for it to be unhealthy for people. They maybe just didn't think about it that way, or it's just reacting to people differently than maybe they expected, or maybe they intended it entirely. I can't read their minds or read their hearts. The other two articles, Why Is It So Hard to Quit and Dealing with Digital Addiction, were two very interesting articles that I got some ideas of how I was going to approach my fast. The Getting Attention Back article described exercising attention is like exercising a muscle, and if you let that muscle atrophy, it's going to get more and more difficult to make it up and make it work and function. And the goal of having some sort of fast or having some sort of time away from social media is to create an environment for a healthy mind to operate without being distracted. The other article was Why Is It So Hard to Quit? And that went so far as to use the description of an abusive relationship where we know that we have an unhealthy addiction to social media, but we are doing nothing about it because it's just easier to keep where we're at, and we don't want to move on from that, or maybe we think we can't. One of the things that I latched onto to go into the third part of this video is, for my experience, on Saturday, when I read all these articles and took all the notes, I took note of that you should try and make your phone as tedious to get into as possible and as undesirable as possible. I decided to delete Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat, and Pinterest, and one other like meme app, and then I turned it to grayscale. Because I think for me anyway, I will open my phone just to look at the clock or just to look at the picture because it's calming to me, or there's a certain amount of security there. So the point of this is to find security in God and build a relationship with Him. And that was my intention going in, was that all my focus was redirected into what Hardin would describe as simplicity of having a single focus. And during all that, I took some notes. I took a lot of notes. I decided to listen to the New Testament, specifically Acts, because I think this is a good time to listen to that particular book. Especially because of this class, this is a very spiritual awakening in my life, I think. And so I wanted to pursue that in listening to Acts. And then I also tried to take 30 minutes of just doing absolutely nothing. And that is something that's very difficult for me because I have some compulsive behaviors. So I sat in this chair for 30 minutes trying to ask God what direction I should be going, what I need to be focusing on, what directions I need to go next in my life, because I just took some time to think about all these things. And that was a very positive moment. And I think I've been trying to do that continually the rest of this week, which has been really good. I also didn't take my phone to church for the first time in a while, which was a good experience overall because I was 100% focused more on the Word, which I didn't feel like was a problem when I took my phone to church because I wouldn't text people in church. I don't use social media in church because it never has really been a problem for me. But I feel like even the process of unlocking your phone at church or just doing little things with other apps that you need to do on your phone when you open it, I think is somewhat distracting for me from actually focusing on the Word and what I need to learn. Sorry, there's a fly. I felt that was kind of helpful, and I may continue to do that. My habits kind of changed because I decided that I wouldn't go completely cold turkey on social media, but I limited it to Twitter and YouTube. But I only would go for an hour a day from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and that would be my only time of day. I decided that Saturday into Monday. So overall, it was a positive experience, and there are certain things like having that structure, having that control, I think was pleasant to me to take back control of my kind of compulsive behaviors. And I am really enjoying doing this, and I started on Saturday, like I said, and I plan to finish on Saturday, which means I will be re-downloading the apps, getting my phone back to normal, its normal colors. But I have learned so much about where I'm at as far as my phone use and where I want to be as far as having my focus upon God. And I think that is a great place to start considering spiritual formation and what direction I'm going with this class and beyond. So, thank you for listening. Goodbye.